We're back today on the podcast. Today, Justin is here,
Yeah.
but we have a guest today who almost, actually, no, who did spill water on his computer. We have Chris, aka It's CJ Productions, aka It's CJ Punk, aka the only leader of the future of the YWC. Chris, how's it going?
Throwback Thursday.
It's going good, bro. Just quarantined, living the
Yeah,
life.
how's your quarantine going? You doing some any productive, I don't know, gaming?
Dude, the amount of Fortnite I've been playing is gross. It's actually like insanely gross. I luckily still have school, so
Okay.
I've been doing that, but it's school and Fortnite, which is kind of brutal, but I'll take it. I know people have it way worse.
Yeah, can we talk? Can we talk about that? What you're doing right now with school and stuff? Like how you've what you're doing right now? Is that like public thing?
I could say like I'm in law school. Yeah.
Okay, how's that going?
It's way harder than than regular school.
Yeah.
It's like not bad. You really get the hang of it quickly. Going from a 14-year-old YouTuber to law school was like a big jump, but it's cool. I really enjoy it. I wouldn't be in it still if I didn't like it. So
That's true.
my first year
How
ended
many
today.
years are you in?
3 years. It's a 3-year program. My first year just finished today, so I gotta take 4 finals and then I officially,
Whew.
and then we're good.
What
It's
does a final look like for law school? Like
So, like,
papers?
So mostly in class assessments, at least for like stuff that is going to be on the bar when you take the bar when you graduate law school. So it's like a bunch of multiple choice, then a lot of short answer essays, all time too. It's all about just nailing it. If you had like 7 hours to take the test, you do fine. But just because of the timing, they really try to make sure you know your crap and stuff. But it's not bad. It's nothing I didn't sign up for, which I'll take.
I mean, that's scary. Like just thinking, like I mean, all the credit in the world to you for doing that because I was done with like the school part of school, like definitely by the 4th year. So how many years are you in for? I know you just said that, but how many
3
years are
more.
you in for?
Three.
It's
Sheesh.
three years total, and so I have 2 more from here.
Okay.
But I kind of was, the second I knew I was doing it, I made like undergrad a little bit easier for myself. Like
Okay.
senior year, I only took electives. And, like,
Oh, there you go.
this was an idiot for a whole year, so this is almost a penance of sorts.
So, I mean, you're a wrestling fan. You're going to law
I
school. One can only mean that you were inspired by David Otunga and the Nexus.
I honestly think I was.
Seriously.
Like, finding out that dude was a lawyer and then seeing him on Monday Night Raw, I was like, oh man, you could really do anything if you just put your mind to it. I've actually never seen, in all of the stuff I've been to and all like the networking events, I've never seen a lawyer that jacked yet. So I'm kind of pissed about that. But if the law doesn't work out, I can always start my own faction and invade Monday Night Raw, and it'll be perfect.
Well, I mean,
So I was gonna say let's talk to YWC.
yeah, I was gonna say you kind of had like your own faction back in like 2010, like with the future of the YWC. Like, I mean, first off, like, do you still keep in contact with any of those guys, like from the original?
When you create this group.
Dude, it's like weird. So Frankie and Mike, Frankie.
Yeah.
Frankie, I still talk to here and there.
Okay.
Everyone else, though, man, I don't think I've talked to like Brendan or Austin since like middle of high school, which is crazy. And it's not even like a bad blood thing. It's just kind of like we all kind of went our separate ways. Like we're all still like on each other's Facebooks and stuff, but nothing more than that. Like it's very, I think Austin ended up like moving to. It's like a weird thing, but
Okay, who's Austin?
You grow up.
YouTube name.
Ostex 40 something.
Texas, yeah, Austin, Texas. And
did he move to Austin, Texas?
I hope so. And it's just funny because like me, Brendan, and Austin all grew up in the same town, but it kind of just like we just ventured off. It kind of just we didn't go to the same high school though, so it was kind of.
I remember that like video you guys made where you guys were like riding your bikes to meet up with each other. Like this was like me and my friends here in Huntley. Like you guys are just like I remember. I think maybe it was you or somebody was like riding their bike to go meet up with everybody. And you guys had like wrestling promotion in the backyard for like a couple like days.
Dude, I used to sleep over Brendan. What was his the YouTube name? WWET. It was something crazy. It
Brendan
was
was WWE Live News.
WWE Live News. We would sleep. I would sleep at his house, and we would just like fist fight in his basement. That was like entirely concrete for
So
like hours.
backyard wrestling, not recorded.
Some of it was. I think we actually did like one for sure recorded thing, and my mom came outside and like freaked out because she saw me actually slap someone.
I remember the vid, like you guys uploaded a video of that, and I remember that.
Yeah, we did like a work shoot slap, and she was pissed. We were like, never again. Maybe
So,
not. It was fun. It was
because I gotta know now that you say that, and I don't think I know this. Like, did you meet them outside first or in YouTube first, and then you just realized you were so close?
Frankie, I've known like forever through family friends.
Okay.
Brendan, I think I literally met like the first day of sixth grade. He was wearing a wrestling shirt,
Oh.
and like this was like I think I got into wrestling around third grade, so I was still insanely into it at this point. So we just started like shooting the shit and talking about everything, and through him I met Austin, and that's kind of just like we were the nerdy wrestling table. Like we would just talk about it all day,
Uh-huh.
and this was just purely WWE and TNA. Like we didn't even know what an indie was at this point. Like the internet obviously existed, but like we didn't really like when CM Punk debuted. None of us knew where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just thought he was this next big thing that came from developmental. So like together we kind of just fangirled over wrestling and eventually found all the indies and stuff and found YouTube, which is
Dude,
kind of the branch out of
that's
that.
that. Okay, that I don't think I ever knew that, and now I'm having that realization where it's like, I mean, like you literally just like took like your friends on like offline and kind of like threw them into like, I mean, you guys all like threw each other into like this online world, and
Yeah,
because of that, like, I mean, like that's because like that's why I'm here today. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's just, I mean, that's crazy, dude.
yeah. I
Holy
was
crap.
always the YouTube obsessed one too. So like it was
Uh-huh.
kind of me pushing them. Like Brendan did not want to do YouTube at all, and I had been doing YouTube at that point since like fifth grade. The second YouTube was around, I was into it. Like I always wanted. I knew it was going to be like this giant. I never thought it'd be like the media giant that it is, but I knew like people would literally get careers based off of it. I was
Hmm.
obsessed with it. I've always been obsessed with it. I'm still obsessed
When
with
did
it.
you discover like, oh, you can make wrestling relate like wrestling reviews?
Ravi was the big. I know a lot of people always say Gemini. I found Ravi first. I found it had to be one of his Legend Killer videos. Like I just straight up was like, I think I just like YouTube searched WWE or something, and the
Hmm.
video of him meeting Ted DiBiase popped up, and I was like hooked.
God.
I was like, people are filming this, like, and he had already had a pretty big following at that point, so I was like, he's doing this and he has a following, so like, how do I do this?
Okay, so because you're okay, I credit you with like the real connection into everything because basically, like for me, um, me and my friend found Hot Apple Stud, and then
Yeah,
he told me about Gemini and Breach, and then somehow, some way, I went from like before I had a computer, I would like use my like iPhone to watch or my iPod to watch videos, and then I got a computer, and then one day I went on YouTube because like I was like doing tech stuff mostly, but some wrestling, and
mhm.
I saw I think it was your channel, and in the channel, you know how like you had those like like subscribe to these channels thing.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, all of you guys had the same nexus with the, with writing on top of it. It was for the future of the YWC. I found out later, but you all had that on there. And just one day, I just like, I don't know when I subscribed to you. I don't know how I subscribed to you. I just like maybe Breach, like was the one that kind of like directed me, like, inadvertently, like where like on his channel, maybe it had that and then I clicked it. I don't know how I found your channel, but I remember I went into your blog TV show one day and I asked the famous question, how do you join the YWC? Because I heard people talking about the YWC and stuff. And you were just there, like sitting in your room, like with your white T-shirt on and everything. And you were just like, you just make videos. And I was like, I mean, okay, like I thought it was like some like group. And then I think I added you on Skype after that. And then it was just before WrestleMania 27. I'm losing my voice over here. It was just before WrestleMania 27 that you brought me into the call with Frankie and Brendan and Ostex and I forgot what the other guy's name was.
Tyler and Matt probably were in there too.
Matt was definitely in there. I don't think Tyler. It was another person that was a part of like the group, but I forgot what his name is, like Andy or something.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I still keep in touch with him here and there too, Andy.
okay, him and then the Boston Brothers,
Yep.
and that was the first call that I was in, and like I didn't know what to say. Like it was kind of like one of those introduction things, and then I remember like I messaged you like before WrestleMania 27. I was like, oh, like have fun at like 27, and then after that, it just kind of like spiraled into, what it is to today. So, I mean, if it wasn't for me going to that Block TV of yours, like I don't know, like that's
That's
just
what
crazy.
I always liked the YWC like aspects of like how open it was. Like it was very easy to like talk to everyone.
Hmm.
Like you really like wanted to figure out like how to do certain videos and stuff like that. Like it was so approachable, especially because YouTube used to have the message function, so you could just straight up
Oh yeah,
message whoever you wanted. Like I remember, I don't know if you remember this kid, Assault Battalion.
I've heard his
That's-
name.
He was the first kid who gave me a shout out. He had like 1,000 subscribers. I lost my mind, and like I literally had one video on my channel when he did it. And I was like, where do I go from here? And he gave me like all this advice and stuff. And I started just like watching everyone at that point. But everyone was just so approachable. And that's why like
Hmm.
the old Skype calls were so cool just because it was like people wanting to collaborate and people just also wanting just to talk to people because wrestling was still one of those like it's not that cool anymore, so I don't know who to talk to it about. And like the Skype calls were just perfect for it. And shout out the Boston Brothers. Those are still my friends for life. I love
I
them.
Boston brother.
remember your WrestleMania 27 video, like how you got like a surprise, like, oh yeah, I'm going to Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
Like
Dude, it was
you're
crazy.
yeah, then your seats are like literally like what on the floor, like couple
Yeah.
rows from the ring.
by the Miz and Cena.
It was bananas. I straight up like I just went downstairs one day. My parents were like, "We have a surprise for you." I was like, "What?" I think I made like honor roll in 8th grade. It was something like a nerdy accomplishment, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to Atlanta," and like to me, Atlanta seemed like this far away mystic place. It was like a 3 hour flight. It was like it was so close, but it was insane. Like I know, like I've been to two manias, and they both been kind of lackluster in terms of like quality. But Jesus Christ, like if even if you're a casual wrestling fan listening to this, like go. Like if you have the opportunity and you're economically in a position where you can buy WrestleMania tickets, just do it. It's so absolutely insane and mind-boggling to be there. Like I still think about it to this day. I was like, I saw the Undertaker wrestle at WrestleMania twice. Like that's irreplaceable like memories. It's
And
insanity.
here's the thing about that. Like, okay, so everybody like discredits like WrestleMania like 27, like the show itself. But
Mm-hmm.
when you think about it, like right off the bat, that was the last Mania in the Atlanta, whatever, like the Superdome, the Georgia Dome, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that was the last one there, because then they knocked it down recently. But then, like, okay, if you think about it, you had you going to your first Mania. You had this, you had Breach and Luke and Ravi and Billy Paz, Miguel, like their whole group, like making videos and stuff.
Yeah.
On the other end, you had the storyline. Well, not really storyline, but you had Tommy going to his first WrestleMania with with our friend Michael, whose uncle was David Otunga, who was a wrestler. Like like you had like that Mania. Like while like there might have been only like one really good match that came from that, give or take a few. I think that Punk one was really good. Anyway, the like just the trip itself and just that Mania like was kind of the start for me, at least in my eyes, for so many different things that like spiraled into like this huge thing that we're in today. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because like honestly, up until that point, like I think like guys had been to manias before, but like that was like
yeah.
the big internet one.
Hmm.
That was like
Bunch of dudes
start
were
off of
there.
the main one. Before then, you had a couple clips, but no one like recorded Access or Mania or even like going around the city and hanging out.
Dude,
Like it was
like
like, oh,
the first time I saw Access was at Access, and now that's just laughable with all the videos out there. But I
Yeah.
literally didn't know what it looked like. Like I didn't know what to expect. And I'm so like I think I went on the Hall of Fame night, so it was like super empty. So I got like
Oh, those are
pictures
the
of everything.
best.
It was just like access to is so much fun. Even though now today it's like all super VIP tickets and fast passes and this, that, and the other, but like it was
Yeah.
just like I like that Mania a lot just because like the content is still on YouTube. One, like you can still go look at Breach's videos and stuff, and two, I felt like it was like a very big like wrestling internet moment. Like tons of people were there. Everyone was like kind of jazzed on the show, at least at first, and like it was
The
just,
Rock came back.
dude, yeah, it was just a good content. Like I think content like that is like what at least kept me going for as long as I did. Like I really enjoyed doing stuff like that. Like experience videos are always so much fun to do.
Like there's literally in my head, it's like okay, WrestleMania 26 to WrestleMania 1 is like one group, that's like the wrestling, that's like the WrestleMania. But then like 27 on to today, like that's like started a whole it's like BC, like before YouTube and after like after YouTube. Like that 27 is like the first of like what it turned into. So like
Yeah,
that's why it's
it's
crazy.
that
Like in
kind of
my mind
thing.
at least.
Like you know someone there now. Like every time you watch a WrestleMania, you're gonna know someone there.
Yeah.
Like it's a cool feeling. Like oh, well, I see him in the crowd and stuff like that. That's how I always looked at it too.
Hmm.
So, what was your favorite? Like doing all these videos for years. What was your favorite? What was the peak of the YWC for you?
Man, I think honestly, just like what was the like maybe the summer after that Mania. Honestly, like right before I was getting into high school and stuff. Like I really just like everyone. Like I think the YWC at its best is when everyone was just cranking out videos like every 2 days. Like
Hmm.
everyone was just always like Summer of Punk was really fun too. I remember that because there was just so much to talk about. But like I really like my first year on YouTube was probably my favorite just because like it was very like drama free. Everyone was just kind of rooting for everyone. Like what kind of ruined the YWC, at least for me, was just like people turning it into like wrestling, where there were good guys and there were bad guys and there were this
Yep.
and that. And people sometimes say like, "Oh, didn't you do that when you started the Future YWC?" I was like, "Not really. I was just kind of saying like I want to make a group because there hadn't really been a group yet. I was like, I wanted to make a group that constantly collaborated, and and all the people we called out in the video ended up becoming my friends. So it
Hmm.
like, didn't even work. So like I don't know. I think just when everyone loved wrestling and kind of kept the egos and personalities to the side, and even the people that had egos didn't really have the right to have them, which was bananas. Like it was never the guys with the most subscribers. It was never the guys with the best content. It was always like these holes in the wall that were stirring trouble. And I was just like, I don't know. But my first year was definitely my favorite because I was constantly going to TNA shows, house shows, pay-per-views. Like that was probably the peak of my wrestling fandom because I was doing so much.
Hmm. Well, I'll tell you this much. We were talking to Breach about this the other day about like we were gonna have you on for the podcast, and he said, and honestly, like I heard this and I was like, dang, that's a pretty high praise. He basically said that like he thought that you were gonna be the next him, like like blowing up with subscribers and like being popular and like making videos every day and like being like literally like like not even like the next Stevie Breach, but like the first It's CJ Productions. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like,
so, so
I
shout
always
out to
had the
Breach.
goal of making the YWC like cool because the
Hmm.
people were already cool. It was just like I always hope that by doing the videos, I can try to get casual fans in on it.
Yeah.
Because like when we were all making videos pretty consistently, it was all very much what we call marks or diehard
Hmm.
wrestling. Like the casual fan never watched. So like I always wanted to kind of branch out into that. Like even like try to appeal to kids. Like I love that Grimm's Toy Show. Like
Hmm.
crazy kid following. I love that. I think that's great. Just because like like wrestling and kids nowadays is a very lonely experience because not everyone watches it. So it's like I always had big aspirations for it, and it didn't work out that way. But some things don't. But
I mean,
YouTube's YouTube. That's just kind of how it goes.
now, yeah, it's so big now. Like you like today, you're not gonna have the same kind of like uh, creative, I guess you can say, videos, like you did like years ago. Like you're not gonna have like a quick like I don't know 30-second video where I don't know, let's say somebody RKO's a pillow. Like you're not gonna have that anymore because it's just so
No, it's
like
like
like publicized and money and company and business. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just not that it's not the creator as much anymore as it is like the business and the dollar behind it all. So
and YouTube is so accessible nowadays that like
exactly.
when someone would make an experience video, it would probably be like the only one on the website. Like I remember when I would go to TNA shows, I would quite literally have the only video on the website
Mm-hmm.
because one, TNA wasn't really that hot at the time. It was kind of on the downward spiral that it became. And two, not a lot of people went to the shows, so I'd always make the experience videos and no one else was there besides like the friends I dragged. So like nowadays when you go to a show, there's a million videos. It's just there's no sense of real independence anymore because YouTube is so on your phone nowadays. Like it's so easy to use and everyone knows.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird before like everyone knew everybody? Like even if you didn't like subscribe to them, like, oh yeah, I've watched a couple of their videos, I've watched a couple of their videos. But now it's like you go on there, like there's like big subscribers and then like no one else.
Dude, I don't know anyone anymore that is like routinely making videos and killing it too. Like I know you guys still make content. I know Breach makes content. I know Yaya will here and there make content. I know Ravi will sometimes, but those are the only guys I like pay attention to. Besides that, I don't know anyone else anymore, which is crazy to me.
That's my whole thing. It's like there's like the only wrestling videos that I watch, like honestly, are just like my friends because I mean I just don't honestly like I don't care about the wrestling content anymore just because I feel like we get so much wrestling as it is.
Yeah,
And there's so many people making quote unquote like content and like the wrestlers are a part of it. The companies
yeah,
themselves are doing it. So like they kind of took the place for that fan who would do it. And that's why like today like I mean maybe like maybe if Breach is like, hey, I freaked out and there was a car crash behind me making this video talking about Randy Orton versus Sheamus or something, like maybe I'll watch that. But other than that, it's like everything else, like when it comes to like wrestling stuff, like I'll watch an unboxing here or there, but like as it is, it's just like my friends and all the other stuff that I watch.
yeah, dude. It's like weird. Like Zack Ryder low-key killed our community. That's what the episode should be called. Like why would I watch some kid in his room make fun of wrestling when he was doing it and he was being paid by the company?
Hmm.
Like like what he did revolutionized wrestling for the better. I think the way wrestling is used, the internet has always been a very innovative way to produce media and distribute media. But he low key kind of took it away. He had like an advantage and he blew up and like quite literally think about like his rise and demise. It's almost like the
Yeah.
same as the YWC. Like
No,
by the
you're
time
right.
it's done, no one was really making videos anymore.
That's crazy to think about. Yeah. I mean, like Zack Ryder's on the like if you had to make like a wrestling internet like um Mount Rushmore, like I put Zack Ryder up there right next to Colt
Oh yeah,
Cabana.
easily, dude. Because
Yeah.
like think about it, there would be no like being the elite without Zack Ryder. They would have never even tried it if they didn't
Hmm.
think it would work. Like
That's
it was
true.
it was a bullet not to use a bullet pun, but it was bulletproof. They knew if they put a weekly content show up, it would work, and
Hmm.
they have a TV show now. They're on TNT. Just
Huh.
been just crazy. I met those guys in like a garage once, and now they're on TV. It's crazy.
Who
The
the Young
Bucks.
Bucks? Oh, I
Yeah.
know. Isn't it crazy, dude? Like I don't know. I mean,
Dude,
to see where they've
Johnny
gone, it's nuts.
Johnny Silver and Alex Reynolds, NYWC, baby. I
Yeah.
used I used to watch those guys wrestle in a literal garage. They're on TV now. It's crazy.
Dude, that's the one thing. Like with the whole, I mean, if it wasn't for like I still talk to Jason from NYWC,
Mhm.
Jason Lennox. He was
Yep.
like the sign guy, and he used to have like a live show about this. Like, okay, here's the thing. Like, it was this random independent wrestling company in New York City. I have never been to New York City in my entire New York, whatever, Long Island, wherever it was. I've never been to New York in my life, and here I am, like being updated and like working to make graphics for this random company all because Chris, who I met through YouTube, like goes to their shows. And like they're like even oh shoot, they're Wrestling Radar now. I don't know how to say their
Yeah.
last name and I feel bad about it.
Ryan
Nick
and
and
Nick.
Ryan. Yeah. I mean like that's another like they're gonna stay in my house if all that happens. Like and they're some of the people that um like because of you and because of like being on the internet for so long, like I remember Nick asking me to make him like it was like ringside wrestling li logo, and like I mean I still talk to him about that today. It's like remember in 2012 when I made that logo for you.
Yeah,
And
dude.
now, now we're hanging out at my house. So yeah, I don't know, it's crazy shit.
Dude, also shout out Ryan and Nick, good guys. I don't talk to them enough, but they're really good guys. And yeah, like it was always just so funny. Like even making those videos, like people suddenly cared about like. And YWC is a great company. Don't get me wrong. Like as far as like random indies go, I still think even today, especially with the way indies are going, it's still elite. Like I think it's a very very good promotion. But like it was just so funny that people were like invested in this little promotion that was quite literally like like storage units. It was like like the
Yeah.
shows happened in a giant storage unit. That's what the warehouse looked like. Like
Oh,
like they would pull the garage door up to get air in because it was so hot.
I remember you would do interviews for that, but then you turn that into interviewing other wrestlers. Hashtag
Yeah,
Ask Nigel, dude.
ask Nigel, dude.
What a
Shout out
time.
Nigel.
How did that how did that come about? Like you doing interviews with wrestlers and stuff. Like
So
big time wrestlers now.
so like it was weird because I have a family friend who is just basically like insanely into wrestling but doesn't have much of like an internet presence.
Hmm.
But he used to run a website and like he knew I
Oh.
was into the videos and stuff. So he was like, "Would you mind like making content?" And it was originally just going to be like me going to shows and like kind of interviewing fans and kind of trolling people and having fun. But then it kind of turned into he was like, "Do you want to interview wrestlers?" And I was like, "What the hell do I know about interviewing wrestlers?" That was the first conversation. I was like, "I'm a teenager. Like they're not going to take me seriously." Luckily, I always had like a little bit of a deeper voice, so they couldn't tell. But I was
Hmm.
like, "They're not going to take me seriously." Like, no. I said no at first, and he goes, "Try the first one." So I think the first one was with Maria, who was like
I
my
think
childhood.
so.
So I
Damn.
was I was rattled, but it went really well.
I was on Skype for that.
Yes. After that, it was like this whole. I think I ended up doing like only 6 or 7, but it was still like banana. Like Mike Mondo used our show to like promote him showing up to a pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. I was like, what? Like it was gold. It was unbelievable,
Yeah,
but it
dude,
was
I
like
talked to
it was
Mike
cool,
Mondo about that.
dude.
Like I
Mondo's the man.
everyone I went up to, like I went up to Maria and I said, "Oh yeah, like like you had an interview a couple weeks ago, like with my friend Chris, like." And she's like, "Oh yeah, like that was a great interview. Like talk to him about this, whatever." And like Mike Mondo, like I talked to him about that. Oh, dude, I just remembered. Shoot, Larry Legend, he was the
Yes,
announcer for
the
NYWC.
goat, the
Man,
absolute goat.
dude, I when I finally got a chance, like I think I still follow him on Twitter. I know I think he or something happened. Like we were following on Twitter for so long, and like he would always when he like started to work for Ring of Honor, he would always be like on the shows that I wasn't at. And
Mhm.
finally, though, like the last Ring of Honor show that I went to, he had like I heard a voice over the intercom of him saying like, oh, like autographs like over here, like upstairs, whatever. And so I heard that voice, and I was like, I know that voice. And then I like ran around, and there he was, and I ran up to him. Like I mentioned, like like you and NYWC and stuff, and he was like, oh, like hey, like it was awesome. It was a long time in the making to finally get a picture with Larry Legend.
And what was really cool about all the NYWC guys was like the first time I went to make a video there, they were all kind of like, "What is this kid doing?" Like,
Mhm.
we were doing the yes thing. I brought all these signs that said yes, and we were just yesing the whole time. Like we were just having fun. And then the video came out, and they saw I wasn't like making fun of it. That I was just like legitimately enjoyed the show and filming
Mhm.
highlights and this and that. And they loved it, like absolutely loved it. Like I remember the next time I went, like wrestlers came up to me and asked, like, "Can we do stuff?" And it was like just fun. It was so much fun. And like certain guys are on TV from that company now. It's like crazy. And Bull James ended up in NXT. Didn't really work out there, but like
Tony Nese
yeah, Tony Nese, full time
won
employee, awesome
won a
dude,
match at WrestleMania for the title.
super nice guy. Like it was just cool because like at that point I was a gigantic indie nerd. So like anything I could do to like help
Yeah.
people, I was like, let's go. I was such a mark for that stuff. It was crazy. Like I didn't
It's
even watch WWE at that point. I was so obsessed with just these little shows that were happening in the middle of nowhere.
it's one of those things where you want to be a part of the business, but you don't want to be a wrestler or like a manager. So,
Exactly. Like I love that like the curtain was pulled back a little bit, but not enough for me to like kill the illusion.
hmm oh,
Because
for
like
sure.
all the interviews I would do would always be like these in character like insanity. Like if you remember the Mike Mono interview, he was screaming on the Skype for 28 minutes. I asked him one question. It was awesome. That's why wrestling's wrestling. It's always so wacky but fun.
Dude, that's why wrestling's wrestling, and that's why like we're all here today is because of moments like that. And you know, if it wasn't for little things like that, like who knows what today would be like? You know, with Skype and with YouTube and
We pretty
with you
much,
going to shows and
I was saying we pretty much figured out WrestleMania 27 is like the
that's
birth of a lot of things.
that's the birth of the YWC. Not
Dude,
really, but
Not really.
it's
YOC
the
was going on
rebirth.
from '07.
Yeah.
Like there was like the second wave was like 2010, 2011.
that's how I would kind of define my existence. Like I was like a second wave. Because like there was a whole generation of YouTubers before me that really like when YouTube was created were on it. Like I think Spinnernet was really, really, really early. Like just based off his camera quality too. I don't want to like make a knock at that. I just think like he'd been on YouTube for a while even when I got there. And same with like
Like that,
Truth Slayer and like Trademark was on YouTube for a while when I got there. So like, I think it was like a little bit of a second wave. And like I
There's
think
like there was the founding fathers, and then there was the people that like did like made the government like kind of thing. Like you know what I mean? Like there was like the people who founded it, and then the second wave is like the people who took it and like turned it into like the next step.
yeah,
I
because
remember when, they were just saying how the YWC is not the same as it used to be, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It seems great. Like in 2010,
Yeah.
like they were already like bashing it back then.
yeah,
When we
like
were coming
people
in.
always critiqued it like when stuff wasn't working. Like I think why I had some like beef thrown my way too was like I wasn't really like the traditional like I'm gonna review this show. Like I didn't care about that stuff. Like I eventually
You were
ended up caring
creative.
about it, but like I always liked making stuff I'd want to watch. And like, someone giving a match 4.25 stars was like, okay, that's fine. But like I just always wanted to do more like I think people also didn't like that I was so WWE and TNA centric. It was like, why don't you watch something off of television? I was like, I don't want to. I don't know.
Well,
I
you were
don't.
like you and between you and Luke, like you guys were the ones that would make like the skits and the
Yeah.
like the YWC like the creative YWC creative, which like I want to steal still to this day, like stuff like that.
Well, I was just always obsessed with like even like I've always been a gigantic Shane Dawson guy. So like every time I attempted to do YouTube, I was always doing sketches in one way or another. You remember my crazy like vlog channel that was all like what you know what's crazy about that vlog channel? I thought about this the other day. I was talking to one of my friends, Jake, who was in some of those videos.
Hmm.
And we were David Dobrik before David Dobrik.
Yeah,
Like we
pretty
did
much.
rehearsed vlogs.
Hmm.
And now I'm just mad that I didn't cash in on the idea. Like there's a zillionaire.
Even like creating like a persona, like different persona, like a character. Like I know that there was like stuff like that before, but I mean, like you and like your Dave character was still kind of like the beginnings of what could have been like something bigger.
Yeah, no, I always like had a thing for like acting and making fun of myself and like
Yeah.
that was always just the funnest way to do stuff. Like I have videos on my home computer like that I need to destroy. Like it's me wigs and stuff, like talk it's just me, no other people in it. Like it's bananas. I just always like sketches. I always thought they were funny and I think that's because like I'm such a Saturday Night Live nerd that I
Hmm.
always thought sketches were always unreasonably funny. To this day, I still think they're the worst sketches are still very funny. So like I don't know. I just always thought like throwing creative flair onto stuff would separate me because I never wanted to be the wrestling channel. Like I always wanted to eventually like pivot.
Hmm.
Like I think Pico, you're the prime example of like you started off kind of doing tech, you started off doing, and then like you kind of switched to wrestling, and then you just started doing stuff you liked.
Hmm.
Like like there was no real equation anymore, and that was always my goal, not to really have like an equation. Like I was gonna just make what I wanted.
Yeah. I mean, if it, like why make it if you don't like what you're doing? Like,
That's exactly how and that's why I kind of left at the end of the day. I was like, you know
hmm
what? It was fun. I enjoyed doing it, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know who's even watching anymore. All of my friends I have on my phone, on Skype, on this, on that.
exactly.
Like if I wanted to get James's take on something, I would just Snapchat James. Like
Exactly. I don't need to watch a video.
I didn't need him
Yeah.
to watch my videos anymore. Like it kind of just turned into something else. Shout out
No,
James
dude.
too.
Dude, we
Love
gotta get James on here, Justin.
Bro, let's get everybody, dude. One by
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
James.
YWC's
James is like new breed.
eventually.
James, dude, James. Let me talk about James for a second, and we'll end on this. So basically, um, I for a while had my like Twitter privated, and I
Mm.
would get like I would get like the like approve these people to follow you kind of thing. And there was this James Guitarcio character that would like he was just it was always on there, and I just never like declined it. I never accepted it, and then like one day. I like I didn't think anything of it. One day I get in a call that's already going on, like have you, and it's got you, it's got James, it's got maybe I don't know who else is in there, but I knew that Tommy was in there. And at that time, Chris and Tommy, they were both already following James, and I was just like, who is this guy? Like, how do I not know who this guy is? So I click his thing, and all these people are already following him, and I'm like, how? Like this guy was just sitting on my, my who do you want? Like, do you want to follow? Like, do you want this person to follow you? Like thing, and I had no idea who he was. Like, I mean that shocked me when I found that out. Now James is like a good guy. Shout out to James. He's is he 12? I don't know, but
Dude,
For life 7-Eleven.
Mania 29 weekend, I think me and James together, like next to each other, watched about 7 shows, like together. Like we
dude,
went to Ring of Honor together, and the next day, like this was the first WrestleCon Mania 29 weekend. They did like this quadruple shot where it was like Shakara in the morning, then like Dragon Gate, then $5 wrestling, and then like maybe like Kaiju. It was something crazy like that, and we watched it all. We were
dude,
at the convention center from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m.
29. Like for me, 29 is the like one of the first or it is the first mania that I felt left out because all the people that went on that 29 trip, like in the group, were the
Mhm.
people that I talked to on that time at Skype. You had Dr. Perfection, you had the Lorenzo Bros, you had Bobby, you had James, you had Kyle, the
Yeah,
Boston Brothers. I'm Phil, like
Ravi was there.
Ravi was there, like all those people were like I'm probably forgetting people because there's a lot of people on that trip, and like they're like
Danny's face reveal, that was crazy.
oh dude, dude,
You
like
ever go to a Five Guys looking for a guy that you don't know what he looks like?
dude, making my debut here with the Boston Bros.
That kid was a cow. He's such a like hilarious mofo too. He was
Ah,
like he was around and I couldn't stop laughing because his voice and stuff, it was just so funny to me, and he was just clowning everyone. It was so fun. That Ring of Honor show was so much fun.
dude, that was like something else because I remember like Miguel and Breach like put up money like who was gonna get the first one to take a picture of his face,
Yeah.
and then he tweeted it like minutes before he like walked into the Five Guys. Oh, dude, what a time.
Dude, the 420 bus, it was a crazy trip.
I remember calling you on Skype because I was like, I feel left out. Like, I want our FaceTime or something. I was like, I feel like left out.
For some reason, like instead of taking like a train to the city, we all just took a bus. I don't even know whose idea that was. Like I was from the area and was like, oh yeah, let's just take a bus, and it took like an hour and a half. It
Oh,
was just,
jeez. Yeah, because like
it was all good memories.
in
Shout
all
out
the
to those guys.
videos, you just hear people like on the bus, like talking about me in different clips for different seconds about different things, like different parts of the conversation. Like at one point, like Kyle's explaining, like like how close I am. Like I live in Illinois, but I'm close to Wisconsin, and then like like I mean that was like literally the first time I felt left out, where I was like, I wish I was on this trip. Like all of my friends are on this trip because like really didn't talk to like like Breach and like Miguel and Ravi and Luke, and like I didn't talk to them as much as I did like as I do today. So
Yeah,
that was really like all those people I talked to at that time. So that was crazy. But man, this was fun. Like
it
you're
was a
gonna
good.
have to definitely come back on because like I mean it's literally just like catching up and everything. And um, what a time, dude! 40
Yeah,
minutes talking about the good old days.
the good old days. And now we're all getting old. We're all getting employed, and we're all locked in our
In our
house.
20s.
Dude, we're old. I started YouTube when I was freaking 12. I'm 23.
I mean 2009 for me. So I think I was probably like I don't know when were you born? Like 96?
97.
97? Okay, so I am older than you. Okay, so There we go. So yeah, I was 13, I guess.
I was
So
18 in 2010.
that's
Been too
crazy.
long, almost.
We're the grizzled young vets. That's not it.
Bro, I feel like I was a young vet right now.
I'm a disgruntled vet, even though I'm
I'm a
only.
literally grizzly young vet. I'm uploading these videos like I'm a new guy on YouTube.
Dude, this is 40 minutes of us like like Jim Cornette or like these old like wrestlers that are older now talking about like the good old days of wrestling, which in like today the people who are making videos constantly today are like, no, like this is the time right now, like this is great. Like all those old guys like just shut up, like I
Dude, who
mean,
even is like in on the YWC anymore? Like, who's making
here's
videos?
the
Like,
thing. The YWC is like that's not like you can't even use that term almost.
it's like
There's
not a thing anymore,
It's
right?
not a thing anymore. It's just a big it's just a lot of people making videos about a lot of things in under the frame of wrestling because you have companies now that make videos and they
Like
hire people.
their own unboxings.
Yeah. Like
Like that's
you
something.
We all missed out big time. Imagine getting like sponsored WWE unboxings. We'd lose our minds.
Oh, dude. I mean, it's crazy. Like that's like with tech things too. It's like back in my day, like you had to go out and like bug companies to send you like free stuff to
Mhm.
review. And now all the big guys that was they were just like nobodies back when I, started watching them. Now they're honestly probably one of like some of the most famous people like on this platform, like TLD Today,
Mhm.
MKBHD, just to name a few. Like it's crazy. And now
Yeah.
Apple sends them stuff, and everybody sends like all the like tech companies send them stuff like weeks in advance of announcement. So
You were always in on like who was big in the tech game, even though like it wasn't that big yet. And like
yeah.
it's funny seeing those guys on like my featured page now.
Oh, dude, that's one of those things where, um, like I'm glad that I went the route that I did because I met like all my friends that I have today. But if I would have like stuck to it with tech, I mean, who knows what would happen? I don't know what would have happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would have just been like hanging onto the ship as it's rising up, like with the rest of the ships, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's always the weird thing about YouTube. It's always just like the what if I made this move, but
Yeah, but
I'm happy, so no
yeah,
regrets, as the famous tattoo says, and I made some friends along the way. So all in all, a positive experience.
yeah, it's all good. All right, well, Chris, thanks again. Justin, you got anything else to say before we leave?
That's it, pretty much.
All right,
I felt
well.
in like 30 seconds, but it was all good though. Y'all riffed.
Dude, I know. Like that was one of those things where I was just like, I have so like there's just so much that I like can say. It's crazy. So my
That's that,
apologies to
that's
you,
the
Justin.
that's the issue with me and Pico. We just
Good.
talk.
Now
Yeah.
we're good. I'll fall back, dude. You take the lead.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you again after a
Absolutely, yeah.
while.
Peace out.
You're